Cooper caught it somehow.
The Cowboys OT, presented by the Texas Lottery, is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Sleep Number. The Sleep Number 360 smart bed helps everyone from parents to pros improve their performance through quality sleep. Only at a Sleep Number store. NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full access to coaches' film and game replays from week 1 to the Super Bowl. Subscribe at DallasCowboys.com/Game Pass. And by the Texas Lottery. Play the Dallas Cowboys scratch ticket today. It's your ticket for a chance to win big.
From AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, the Dallas Cowboys keep their playoff hopes alive heading into the final week of the regular season with a 37-17 victory over the rival Philadelphia Eagles, ending their chances for an NFC East title, and the Cowboys are very much so alive. Welcome in to Cowboys OT from the Star in Frisco, everybody. Following that 37-17 win for the Cowboys, they improved to 6-9 on the 2020 campaign, and they eliminate Philadelphia, who falls to 4-10-1. Kyle Youmans with you alongside a trio of former Dallas Cowboys, ready to break things down on what was a fun one for Cowboys fans. Over 500 total yards of offense, and really everyone getting going, but Isaiah Stanback, Nate Newton, and Barry Church. And we'll start with you, Isaiah. You're an offensive guy. I'm sure you pretty much had a ton of fun in this one, seeing really all the receivers and Zeke and Andy Dalton get their fill.
Yeah, it's the giving season, as we per se, and you get 100, and you get 100, and Zeke gets 100, and Gallup gets 100. Everybody was eating today, and it was awesome to see. And we talked about it in the pregame show when we talked about Andy Dalton becoming more comfortable with this offense, right? We talked about Kellen Moore, becoming more confident within the system with Andy Dalton at the reins, and we saw everybody start to eat. The offensive line was moving guys off the ball. Ezekiel Elliott got going. You saw his swag back, and everybody was collectively playing well together, and the energy was awesome. We were moving the chains left and right. We had no issues today.
I tell you what, and on the other side of the ball, man, Randy Gregory showed up, showed out, 3 forced fumbles, got a couple of picks, man. Anthony Brown got a timely pick there towards the end of the game. I'm just excited to be a part of this, man. I'm telling you, Church, it was complimentary football at its finest.
It was definitely complimentary at its finest. And to me, I'm most blown away by this offense. I mean, the way they were able to go out there, Andy Dalton wheeling and dealing to anybody he wanted to do. It doesn't matter who was out there. If it was Zeke, if it was CeeDee Lamb, if it was Cooper, if it was Gallup, he was dealing it to everybody. And we thought he had the opportunity to shred this defense during the pregame show. It just all predicated on that offensive line. And I got to say it here, man. That offensive line, they showed out. They kept Andy Dalton clean throughout most part of this game. And he was able to piece apart this defense. And as we see there, Gallup going down the sidelines, it was one of his best games today. He wielded it, and he dealt it to everybody and anybody who needed it.
One of the common phrases throughout this 3-game winning streak for the Dallas Cowboys has been resiliency, and they showed that again today. They were down 14-3. Philadelphia had a ton of momentum. It looked like Jalen Hurts had found some rhythm again as a rookie quarterback playing against the Cowboys for the first time, and then all of a sudden the Cowboys turn things around. They get the offense fire started, and 34-3 is what they outscored Philadelphia the rest of the way. But Isaiah, when you look at both sides of the football, there's still ways to grow going into the final week of the regular season, but you're still alive, and really that's all that matters at this point.
Yeah, so you talk about those guys getting behind early. We alluded to it before the game about them being confident, being patient. They were patient today as they got behind, and they were confident within their system, within their schemes, within their players and their skill sets to go out there and make sure that things get handled. They handled what the task that was at hand today, and that's all they could control. Looking forward, they need to handle next week now.
And then you know what? And Andy Dalton is that main key. He has been that veteran backup and that presence to keep everybody calm.
Yeah, and you know what? I will say this as well. Even though he didn't do much in the game defensively, we can't overshadow the experience that Sean Lee brought to this defense. There was not a lot of busted plays out there. There wasn't a lot of busted coverages. The secondary wasn't just allowing people to run scot-free down the sidelines. And I think that had a lot to do with him getting his personnel and him getting his players in the right area at the right time to work. And I think he ended up proving to be one of the voices on this defense that let them go to the next level. As you see out there, Randy Gregory stripping everybody. He had 3 forced fumbles this afternoon. It was an amazing performance by by the defense and the offense. Just an overwhelming victory, and we needed that going forward.
Complimentary football is what the Cowboys have been waiting for really the entirety of the 2020 season. Well, we've seen it now in week 14, 15, and 16. We're going to talk more about that offense, though. We had a couple of 100-yard receivers, a 100-yard rusher, and another receiver with a pair of touchdowns. We'll talk about that offense at over 500 total yards when we return on Cowboys OT. Welcome back into Cowboys OT, where we are just getting underway, breaking down this 37-17 final score from AT&T Stadium, where the Cowboys keep their playoff hopes alive and eliminate the hated Philadelphia Eagles. Welcome back in, everybody. And one of the big reasons for the win, guys, was you got the receivers going. You had Michael Gallup with 121 yards, all in the first half, by the way. Amari Cooper with a $121 himself. He didn't have a score, but CeeDee Lamb had a pair of them. But this is the kind of wide receiving output you've been waiting for all season long, Isaiah.
Absolutely. And I think, we can give credit to not only the athletes and the players that were out there making the plays, but Kellen Moore. I mean, these guys weren't just running open just because their routes were so amazing. They were running open because of the concepts the plays that were called. So these guys did a good job of making sure those plays were handled accordingly. And then when they had their opportunities, those guys broke free. You see the ball getting delivered right there to Big Coop. Andy Dalton did a heck of a job getting the ball in great placement for these guys to be able to get some of what we call that yak yardage, yards after catch, putting the ball where only they can get the ball and make sure we're able to move these chains. They were very efficient with it today, and I'm super happy about it.
I don't know much about that secondary. I don't know a whole lot about coverages. But I know when Amari Cooper get going, it seemed like everything started running smooth. And it seemed like once Amari got going, then Michael Gallup busts wide open with that one-on-one coverage against number 38. I don't want to call his number, but somebody said he was a liability.
He definitely was a liability in today's game. He was getting beat left and right. But overall, like we said in the pregame show, we knew that these Cowboys receivers were going to have the advantage going against this Philadelphia secondary. They were beat up, and yes, they did get Darius Slay back, but to me, he was getting burnt and roasted all season long. He had to pick this game, but it was a little bit too late. I mean, overall, I think this Cowboys offense is finally starting to show. Like I said before, if you keep Andy Dalton upright, if you keep him clean, he can be an efficient quarterback in this league, and he showed it today as he was able to dissect this Philadelphia Eagles secondary. Michael Gallup, Coop, CeeDee Lamb, those boys had a heck of a day, and it shows. It shows, and this offense showed out today.
We have heard the term game manager for Andy Dalton, but today he was more than just a game manager. 22 of 30 passing, 377 yards, and a trio of touchdowns. And really, he had just gotten going before really the offense kind of threw on the brakes and allowed the rushing game to get going. But, Isaiah, what did you think about what Dalton brought to the table and the way he was able to distribute to the weapons?
Yeah, so there's a dude named Salt Bay, right? And Salt Bay kind of drips that thing off his elbow. That's what Andy Dalton did today. And you've seen it every single week. Every week he's been out there, he's gained confidence. From the time that he first stepped on the field with these guys and he was surprised because, Dak's never missed a game, to now where he's fully confident. They know he's the guy. He's built up his continuity and his chemistry with his receivers. And now he stands up there firm in the pocket. Like my guy BC said, when he knows he's protected, he's going to deliver that ball. And that's exactly what we're seeing, the red rifle going to work.
The defensive coordinator, Jim Schwartz, for the Eagles said Andy Dalton has never seen a dump down he didn't like. Well, he threw it all over the field, threw it long, threw it short. And, brother, I'm quite sure to burn you and ain't seen as many players as you got tonight.
I mean, like you said, they were getting burnt left and right. But I'm telling you what, this Dallas Cowboys team, they're turning into a very dangerous team. Like, this is, I think, 3 straight victories. If they can win next week, 4 straight, and if they can seem a way to slide into the playoffs, I don't think anybody wants to play against this team. I mean, Isaiah, you were part of that New York team that came into the playoffs hot. And we saw what happened with that. So this could be a team that ekes into the playoffs with 4 straight victories, becoming that hot team. I don't know. I don't know if anybody wants a piece of that.
Win at the right time and makes things interesting, and that's what the Cowboys are doing. There you take a look at some of the just outlandish stats whenever it comes to the Cowboys today. 22 first downs. They were 6 of 13 on third down, efficient all the way across the board, including on the ground, 151 yards. And we're running out of time here in this segment, Nate, but I wanted to hear what you had to think about Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, he returns from that calf injury. He was inactive for the first time in his career, and he comes out and he goes 19 for 105. Didn't find the end zone, but he found plenty of opportunity to be efficient in this one.
The week off, he done him great. Tony Pollard done him great. That's what we talked about in the pregame, that early competition that he's into now. He may not say it, but it's competition there, and it sparked him.
It did spark him, and Tony Pollard only finished with 9 carries and 12 yards, a long run of 7. But it looked like vintage Zeke, and it was fitting because he had a long run of 31 yards, which is one of his longest of 2020. When we come back here on Cowboys OT, we'll talk about the defensive side of the football. Forced 3 turnovers, had plenty of big plays, and we'll hear how they were able to hold down Philadelphia when we return on Cowboys OT. 20-point win for the Dallas Cowboys. They've now won 3 straight as they eliminate the Philadelphia Eagles and get another win to close out the regular season home slate. They've got one more against the New York Giants on the road next week. But in the win, the defense able to stand strong points-wise, yardage-wise, still a little iffy, I guess, from the defensive side of the football. And we'll start here with Barry Church. But Barry, whenever it comes to 477 yards on the ground, I mean, this is a Cowboys defense that's been susceptible. They certainly were again today, but they took advantage when they needed to.
Yeah, they took advantage when they needed to, and like you said, that's just too many yards given up on the defensive side of the ball. It feels like between the 20s, this defense is still getting harassed. But when they get into the red zone, they're kind of doing this bend but don't break thing, and they're not allowing many points, and they're taking the ball away. Now, if we weren't taking the ball away, I think we would be getting killed in these games, but I don't know what's going on with this defense. There's some type of juice, somebody inserted something into this defense, because every time they arrive at the ball carrier, they arrive with bad intentions. They're punching, they're swinging, they're doing whatever they can to try to get that ball out. And the secondary is eating right now. They're taking the ball away with picks, getting the offense back in short field, and they're letting it do what they do. But for overall, this defense, they have to continue getting the ball away, and they got to find a way to kind of short the run game. Between the 20s, it's still too much for me and for my liking. So this defense, they got to step it up a little bit.
But you know what? Gregory is playing nice.
Yes.
Gallimore is playing nice. D-Law is being very, very consistent. Them guys on the back end are taking advantage of what's happening up front. And as long as you got that right there, you can give up a little bit in the 20s. As long as you keep them 17 points, fellas. When the last time we've seen 17 points? Talk to me, Stanback.
I'm going to talk to you real quick, baby. All I'm going to say is 10 turnovers in the last 3 games. We have forced 10 turnovers in the last 3 games. I don't care if we give up a bazillion yards.
Right.
As long as we keep these boys at 17 points and we keep getting these 3.3 turnovers per game, we're going to be all right. So these guys are doing a heck of a job. You talked about, D-Law getting off. You talked about Randy Gregory playing like a madman, forcing 3 fumbles. Barry talked about these guys running around and hitting. One thing I want to mention, these guys are playing with leverage. They're playing complementary defense where in terms of, we know in and out the coverages on our side of the ball. These guys are playing in and out. They're trusting each other, and they know where each other are going to be, and it's allowing them to play free, which is what you want to do on this side of the ball.
How do you feel like they adjusted to playing against Jalen Hurts? I mean, another mobile quarterback presenting different challenges than what Carson Wentz had in the first meeting back in Week 8. But Jalen Hurts got his fill. He had a good game when you look at the stat book. But at the end, they took advantage of a rookie quarterback making some poor mistakes.
Yeah, they took advantage of a rookie quarterback, and they listened to the pregame church service. They listened to what I had to say, and they didn't miss out on any big play opportunities. We saw out there the Philadelphia Eagles. They were able to jump on a couple forced fumbles there, but for the most part, they took advantage of bad throws by Jalen Hurts, as we see Anthony Brown getting a pick right there. Trayvon Diggs had a pick as well, but they were playing like madmen out there. They listened to church service. They didn't give up any big plays, and they took advantage of the big plays on their end. It was a great overall performance by the defense.
As they were rushing, you see there on the film, they kind of stayed horizontal to each other. They side by side with each other. They didn't just rush up the field and open up a lane. And when he did, they converged in on, like you see right there, and where right there Gregory gets the forced fumble. So when you play like that right there against a running quarterback and take away his lanes and make him read coverages, he'll make mistakes.
Yeah, and hats off to Mike Nolan on the defensive side of things in terms of coordinator. They made a second half adjustment. And the second half adjustment, I'm not sure how many people recognize it, but we did here in the studio. They took Goodwin, number 29. They took Goodwin, and they went over what we call a bottle top defense. They take 3 safeties over the top. And what they did is at the snap of the ball, they would bring Goodwin down into the middle of the field. And his job was to solely keep his eye on Jalen Hurts and spy him. Wherever Hurts went, he was to be a mirror, which let them know that, hey, we have our eye on you. So you have to sit back in that pocket and throw this thing, because that gentleman, number 29, was not going to allow you to get out this pocket and run around. Great job as a holistic defense. Proud of these guys.
Take a look at some of the defensive stats today, and you look at 24 first downs, 17 points. They had 24 first downs in this ball game given up, but they were still really able to keep Philadelphia off of the board. And I think that's really the big thing. You talk about bend, don't break, and that's how this Cowboys defense really struggled early on in the season. They broke. They give up the big play. And today it wasn't about the big play, the 181-yarder to Deshaun Jackson, but it seems like that's pretty much going to happen whenever Deshaun Jackson plays the Dallas Cowboys. He's going to get you at least once. But the Cowboys get their 6th win of the season, 3rd in a row. We'll hear from the head ball coach as Mike McCarthy goes to the stand at AT&T Stadium right after this. We're rolling along here from the Star in Frisco. It's Cowboys OT. Kyle Youmans, Barry Church, Nate Newton, and Isaiah Stanback. But before we hear from those three, let's go ahead and go back out to AT&T Stadium. Hear from Mike McCarthy following the Cowboys' 37-17 win.
Yeah, Mike, can you just start with how your team performed today and just what do you have to say about how it's responded over these final 3 games to give yourself this opportunity going into Week 17?
You know, I can't say enough about the football team, the whole operation of it, just the way everybody's battled, and the challenges that we've had, and particularly to see things come, full circle these past 3 weeks. So it's an excellent team win, and just like the past two games, and now we have a chance next week. So we still have to take care of our own opportunity and hope for some help, but the fact of the matter is we're playing really good team football right now, and that's the course we need to stay, and just can't be more happier for the players. They've stayed the course. The work during the course of the week hasn't changed much. We haven't had a bunch of highs and lows, even with the past challenges that we've had. So just really happy for the football team. It was an excellent team win today.
Mike, what did you think of what Andy was able to do today for you?
I thought Andy did an excellent job, particularly mixing the run and pass, just the conversations in between the series, making adjustments that needed to make. We obviously wanted to get the ball outside, take advantage of some of the matchups that we felt were favorable to us, and I just thought he was very patient. That's a challenging front, and we had some uphill sledding there at times running the ball, but then we ran it when we had to, and ran it effectively. So I thought we were extremely efficient offensively. We're doing a good job taking care of the ball, and we're definitely going to need to do that next week.
Can you just talk about the defense and what happened? You give up touchdowns on the first 2 drives, and you basically stone them the rest of the way. You shut them out in the second half. What did you change that y'all have to get adjusted to what Jalen was doing? Just talk about that defensive performance.
Well, I mean, you got to give Philadelphia credit. Their first 15, their early script, they were able to hit on a couple big plays. But I thought defensively, our guys did a great job. There wasn't any panic or just to hold them at 17, and we had the takeaways and also getting off the field on the 4th down. So I thought our guys played with excellent vision, patience, breaking on the football, and once again I thought the sideline operation, everything. It was a very confident sideline, and our defense, definitely holding them to 17 was huge for us.
Cowboys starting 3-9. There was plenty of scrutiny around Mike McCarthy, but they've now won 3 straight. In those 3 games, they've forced 10 takeaways. They're +9 in the turnover margin, and really that's been one of the big keys. He talked about it there, getting 3 more again today, Isaiah, and that's how the Cowboys ultimately play complementary football. As you get those turnovers, you take advantage on the offensive side, but no matter how you look at it or how they've done it, it's been quite the turnaround here in 2020.
Yeah, these guys have been through it. They've been through the moat, they've been through the mills, they've been through the mud, whatever else you want to refer to it as. They've had life happen to them this year, with COVID and not having camp, all the way to losing one of their coaches. It's been a very emotional roller coaster this year, but guess what? In the NFL, People don't want you to find excuses. They want you to find ways. And that's what this team has done. They found a way. They have positioned themselves for an opportunity. That's all you can do is you want to play hard. You want to go out there, execute, give yourself a chance, and now you have an opportunity to go out there and hopefully get a playoff spot.
You know, it was all about damage control with all of those injuries, all of those great players that we have with the Cowboys. Now you manage that damage control. You get players going in the right direction. They get to believing in what you're trying to put out there, defensive and offensive and special teams. And this is the results you get. You get a team that plays hard, plays smart, and have opportunity to win games.
You're right about that. And all the goals and all the aspirations that the Cowboys had at the beginning of this season, it's still obtainable. I mean, we started this season, we thought it was over with. I think they were about 2-7 at one point. And even myself, I was like, man, you know what, I'm going to jump off this bandwagon. But they proved me wrong out here. And I think the two biggest differences in this 3-game winning streak has, one, been the takeaways on the defensive side of the ball. Like Isaiah, you said, they've taken the ball away 11 times these past 3 games, and that's proven to be the difference because this defense is still giving up 1 trillion yards a game, but they're taking the ball away and they're winning the turnover battle. And the other difference I've seen in this 3-game winning streak is this offensive line. I mean, the beginning of the season, it was patchwork. We lost Tyron Smith. We lost Lyle Collins. But this group that they've had these past 3 games, they've kept Andy Dalton upright, and he's become that efficient quarterback that we thought he would be as a backup to Dak Prescott, and it's proven dividends to this team. Hopefully they can get into the playoffs and keep that momentum going.
I think this coaching staff deserves a lot of credit because of the injuries, because of the obstacles that, like, all 3 of you guys had talked about. And you even mentioned the offensive line. You lose both of your all-pro tackles and a Hall of Fame guard, and you somehow pull out 6 wins and maybe 7. If you can get a win next week against New York, that's pretty fantastic overall. Let's talk about who ran behind that offensive line today, though. Ezekiel Elliott with 100-plus yards. We'll hear from him next. Cowboys win by 20, and Ezekiel Elliott has a new season high for 2020 as he has 105 yards on the ground. Second time this year he's hit the century mark. Here's what he had to say at AT&T Stadium following the game.
Zeke, how did it feel to be out there and look like the finisher, kind of throwback of what you were even earlier this year?
Man, it felt great. You know, it felt great to come out and lean on those guys a little bit. We knew that it was going to be tough sledding at first, but, you know, we just had to grind them out, and we knew the big ones were going to come towards the end of the game.
Zeke, what gave you the confidence to believe that this was possible, that you would still be playing for something meaningful in the last week of the season?
Because I'm a competitor. If you gave up 5-6 weeks ago, you shouldn't even be. We don't even want you on our side. I mean, we're competitors. This whole team is. We're a team of competitors, and I mean, we weren't out of it. All we have to do is we gotta win next week, and we need a little help from the guys we just played. But you know, I like how this team's playing football right now. Coach McCarthy said his plan was for us to trend up through the season, and right now we're playing really good football, and I think we're catching fire at the right time.
Ezekiel, that long run there at the end of the game, the 31-yarder, he got up and celebrated. We've seen you celebrate before, but that one seemed to have a little more meaning to it.
Yeah, I mean, just with the way the year's been going, and honestly, it's been tough this year to celebrate when you don't have that many fans. But, I mean, that one just definitely felt good. I think just the biggest for me is just that, you know, I feel healthy. I've been feeling a little banged up past weeks, and this week I felt healthy, and I felt like myself.
Zeke, when you think about everything you guys have been through this year, what does it mean to you and the team to still have a shot in Week 17?
I mean, it just shows the type of guys, you know, that we have in this locker room and in the building. I mean, from losing, you know, I mean, I think we have one guy remaining that was originally on our starting O-line. We got one guy left there, and losing our quarterback, and just not letting that phase us, and just going out there and keep fighting.
What were your impressions of just the game that Michael Gallup had? Really not even him, just the entire wide receiver core with the games that Amari and CD had as well?
I mean, we knew going into the season that a lot of guys on this offense are dangerous. I mean, from Coop to CD to Mike G to Sed. He had a big game this year, and then we got TP, who's a big play waiting to happen, and great tight end core with Schultz and I can't even think
Bell.
Belldozer. But I mean, we got a lot of talent on the outside, and we're a real problem for secondaries.
Got to make sure the Belldozer is mentioned as a part of the post-game festivities. But there you see some of the numbers from Ezekiel Elliott. First 100-yard game since Week 11 against Minnesota. That was also a win for the Cowboys, but he had 5.5 yards per carries. And, guys, it really did look like Zeke was vintage Zeke and had some of those strong runs. Was there maybe a little bit of that added pressure from the week Tony Pollard had a week ago against San Francisco, Isaiah?
I'm not sure, but the boy was running like he had a pit bull chasing him.
Yeah.
and I like that, Zeke. He definitely has some more juice, whether it was the pressure from TP, whether he was frustrated from all the critics saying that he's lost a step and he's overpaid, all this stuff. Regardless, he came out and he showed out today. You're going to see the stats. You're going to see that he rushed for 5.5 yards per carry. You're going to see that he hit 100 yards. You're going to see that he's only a few yards away from 1,000. But the plays that nobody's really talking about are the ones that are most important. And that's the ones that where he should have been down 5 or 6 yards in the backfield, and he worked his tail off Barry Sanders-esque to get back to the line of scrimmage. Those are the plays that allow for this offense to be in a position to move the chains today, and those are the ones that nobody's really paying attention to that he needs to be celebrated for. When
Zeke holds on to the ball, he's devastating, and he does his job, and he's a common effect to those offensive linemen. So, hey, hats off to you, Zeke.
Yeah, I don't know what got into Zeke today because I started Tony Pollard on my fantasy team, and I was dead wrong. Zeke went out there, and look, he had a different juice, a different gear today. Like you said, he looked Barry Sanders-esque in the backfield because there was a couple times where there was 3 or 4 Eagle defenders in his way, and he juked this way, juked that way, spin this way, and he got out of it for about a 4 or 5 yard gain. Usually this season we've been used to Zeke getting 3 or 4 yards in a cloud of dust, but today he was making boys miss out there, and he looked like the vintage Zeke that we were used to seeing back in the day. Man, I don't know. His calf seemed to be magically healed today because he was on fire.
You mentioned Tony Pollard not being on your fantasy team. I don't play in the offense-defense leagues, but if I had a guy on the defensive side of the football, I would have wanted it to be Randy Gregory today. Forced 3 fumbles. The Cowboys defensively forced 3 takeaways. Again, the 3rd week in a row they've done so. We're going to hear from Randy Gregory as he went to the podium following the 37-17 Cowboys win over the Eagles. We'll hear from him when we return. 2 sacks and 3 forced fumbles for Randy Gregory in the Cowboys' 37-17 win. He's always been one of the better stories of 2020. And here's what he had to say following the 20-point Cowboys win.
Randy, can you talk about what this defense has been able to do over these last 3 weeks, and especially today after falling behind 14-3 and then not allowing a touchdown the rest of the way?
Well, I think it just shows how resilient we are. We're hard workers. We take pride in our work, and I think we've been a lot more consistent in our play. Guys are really believing in their play on the field. The cohesiveness is getting a lot better, and people are showing up. So I know a lot of guys are proud, and we'll continue to do this, to the end of the regular season.
Randy, would you say this is one of your better games since you've come back, just overall?
Yeah, it was one of my better games. I think, for the average viewer, they get stuck on the stats. So I think, I showed up there in the box score, and, that makes a lot of people happy. But, me along with a lot of other guys, we never satisfied in our work, and there's still more to do, still more to get better at. And that's what we'll do this upcoming week to prepare for the Giants.
What's it mean to have this chance here? I know you need the Eagles to beat Washington, but at least to have this chance to make the playoffs.
Well, we've always believed we've had a chance. It's always been there. We understand, the makings of our division, and we can't really worry about what everyone else is doing. Control what we can control, and I think that's what we've been doing. Obviously, there's a lot of things that has to fall in place, and if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. But, our job is to go out there and put our best foot forward on the field and take care of, everything we have going ahead of us. And that's what we'll do next week.
Did you see any frustration in the Eagles, especially when they were trying to get things going in the passing game today?
I think so. I think, at least for me, the offensive line, we're doing a lot of things to help protect the quarterback back there, a lot of chips, a lot of, max protection, keeping tight ends in there. So, for a defensive line or, even as a defense as a whole, for us, it, seems like they're, not real confident in what they have there. And, we got to take advantage of that. I think we did a good job getting after them from the, front of the defense all the way to the back. Corners, DBs did a good job locking up, making plays. Linebackers did a good job, flowing to the ball. And D-line, we did a real good job getting back there and, causing chaos back there in the backfield.
Was today an example of how this defense has grown? Because in some earlier games this year, after giving up a couple of touchdowns early, things kind of seemed to snowball against the defense. Was this something that would have been harder to do earlier in the season that you're a little better equipped to handle now?
I don't know. I mean, I think, as cliche as it sounds, especially on defense, people like to talk about bend, don't break. And I think today was a perfect example of that. I think we've progressed a lot in that sense throughout the season. And like I said, today is a perfect example of that. We got down early, but, I think we're, like I said, very prideful in our work. We understand what we can do on the field when we're really playing at our highest level. And it showed there, after we got down.
Second game this season where Randy Gregory has had multiple sacks. Both of them have come against NFC East divisional foes. But if the Cowboys are going to continue this hot streak and they're going to continue a run into the playoffs, gentlemen, it's going to have to come a lot from that defensive line. You got Randy Gregory, DeMarcus Lawrence. They are going to have to continue to make impacts, but that's what Gregory was able to do today, Barry.
Yeah, he was able to do it. I mean, he impacted the game like none other. I mean, he had 3 forced fumbles out there. 3 forced fumbles. That's hard to do in a season, let alone one game. And like he said, they were max protecting. They were chipping those guys all day, and they were still able to get to the quarterback. DeMarcus Lawrence, Gregory, Neville Gallimore and those boys, they showed up today, and they're going to need to show up next week as well if they want to continue this momentum going and taking the ball away. They need to keep coming with bad intentions when they get to the ball carrier.
Tyrone Crawford, Neville Gallimore, these guys can put pressure in the middle, and they kept this line straight across. And that allowed our 2 defensive ends to bring that good heat that he was talking about, man. Just a great job of playing team defense with the front 4.
Yeah, you said it, Nate. They brought that Latino heat today. Them boys is coming off the edge, and it was great to see. You mentioned Crawford, Gallimore. Those guys are forcing pressure up the middle, not allowing Hurts to really find those gaps and those seams that most quote-unquote running quarterbacks like to find. And then these ends, and D-Law and Gregory just came home. They were allowed to pin their ears back, come off the edge, and, come with those ill intentions when they got to the quarterback. It was good to see these guys all come in and try to get the ball out at the same time, and you can see the juice that they had collectively as a defense.
Really quickly here, Barry, whenever it comes to the linebacking core, no Leighton Vander Esch today. Also in the secondary, no Xavier Woods. But what do you think about the guys who stepped up in his absence?
Look, he didn't do a lot in this game, but I think the general did a great job. And I'm talking about Sean Lee. I think he got those boys lined up in the right defense and the right system and let them do what they did. They didn't have to think a lot because they had Sean Lee out there controlling this defense. Like I said, he didn't do a lot. He didn't have a lot of tackles, but just his leadership out there proved to be the difference for this defense, and they continue to take the ball away. They're going to need to do that.
The Cowboys trailed 14-3 early in this game. The hot streak was started by Michael Gallup. We'll hear what he had to say right after this. Continuing along here on Cowboys OT, and there was one receiver out of the bunch that had fantastic games, that had 6 receptions, 121 yards, and 2 touchdowns in the first half alone, and that's what Michael Gallup did. Here's what he had to say.
Michael, what was it like getting that 3rd victory in a row, knowing you're still in it now that Washington took the L, and then you having a big game like you did?
Man, big time, loads of fun. It was just great to be out there, have a good time. Everybody was eating, everybody's having a great time. It was a fun game, and we needed it.
What's it like as a wide receiver core when, as you said, everybody's eating? You had the big first half, but then you see what Amari did, you see what CD did.
I mean, we talk about it every week. Like that's how it's really supposed to go. You know, the defense doesn't know, who to double up, who to put their best corner on, because I mean, it really doesn't matter. So it was just that's what we know we can do. So we just got to go out there and do it, week in, week out.
When you think about everything you guys have been through this season, Michael, what's it like to sit there realizing you still got a shot in Week 17?
I mean, Coach just told us that in the locker room. He was like, I mean, you guys have strained for this. You worked for this, through all the ups and downs that we've had this season, losing players to injuries, football just not going our way. We needed this, and just to have it, happen like it is happening, it's just a great feeling.
I know it's probably a long list, but when you think of all the things that have gone wrong this season, what comes to mind is just about the adversity that you guys have thrown your way?
I mean, just the I don't even know what word to use. Just the excitement that we have when it actually happens, the way it's supposed to happen. I think that's the best way I can put it, because we know it can happen like that. And all the adversity that we faced this year, it's just a testament to what we can, really do. So I think we, displayed that a little bit tonight.
Michael, what did it mean to you guys to know that maybe there was a deficiency on the other side, and the fact that you guys were able to continually exploit it time and time again and execute that well? What does that mean to you and your fellow receivers, as well as Andy Dalton?
I mean, that just builds confidence. We run a play and it, goes big time, big yardage, anything like that. And then, we're able to do it again and keep on doing it. That just builds confidence and something that we need, right here in the final stretch.
Michael, I believe they said on the broadcast that Coach McCarthy smashed watermelons again last night. Was that the case? And if so, can you tell us about that?
Yeah, the captains got to smash some watermelons that actually had some candy in them. I don't think anybody ate the candy, but yeah, we did. We smashed some watermelons. It was, an exciting thing that McCarthy came up with, and it's been, on the good end for us every time we've done it. So.
And whenever CeeDee Lamb was taken in the first round of the 2020 NFL Draft, this is what you envisioned with these three wide receivers, each of them having massive impacts in this football game, including each of them having a reception or a play of more than 50 yards. You look at Gallup, he had a couple of touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb had the late rushing touchdown, but ultimately all three of them paid off and paid dividends in the Cowboys' 37-17 win. And Nate Newton, that's really what this front office envisioned whenever they took CeeDee Lamb. They wanted to pair these three guys together and find a way to let them make an impact.
At the beginning of the season, man, all we heard about was, hey, maybe 3,000-yard receivers. Okay, that may not come, but now we see the consistency with the quarterback. He's settling in. We found CeeDee Lamb. We found Amari Cooper. And in the same game, we found Michael Gallup. These guys are playing outstanding. They're doing a great job. They're catching the ball, because we had a little inconsistency there with Michael Gallup for a while. And then CD kind of fell off in the last Philadelphia game. But here lately, these last three games, he's been finding an open guy and doing a great job. So, Michael Gallup, you envisioned it, and it finally came true. Big game from all three receivers.
Yeah, no, these boys are playing, man. We talked about how dominant of a force all three of them could be. You see the stats, but they're doing so much more than what you're seeing in the stat sheet. We're seeing these guys go out. These guys are making great blocks in the running game. These guys are also forcing pass interference calls. That doesn't show up in the stat sheet, right? These guys are forcing PI calls. And the reason why those PI calls are coming is because Andy Dalton has the time, number one. He trusts these guys. He's building that chemistry, and he's giving them opportunities to go up there and make big plays. They're either going to go up and make the big contested catches, or they're going to get the PI calls. Also, they're getting those nice plays and those nice contested catches that are moving the chains. Those are the things that really keep the offense going. Those are the things that allow for your team to have possession time.
This is the offense we thought we were going to get at the beginning of the season. I mean, you got, Amari Cooper getting 100 in the first half, then you got CeeDee Lamb taking over in the third quarter, and then Michael Gallup comes up in the fourth quarter. This is the type of offense we thought we were going to get, an efficient quarterback play. I mean, it's coming together nicely, especially with Zeke getting the ball the way he was getting the ball and being able to go over 100 yards. This thing is coming together nicely. I know we can't start counting our eggs yet, getting into the playoffs, but if we can keep this momentum going, if we can keep this type of offensive performance going, we're going to be a dangerous team come playoff time.
First time since week 3 the Cowboys have had multiple 100-yard receivers, and it's the first time all season that they've had that along with a 100-yard rusher, and that's what Zeke brought to the table as well. Amari Cooper at 1,000 yards. CeeDee Lamb's 108 away from that mark. But what's important is the Cowboys are still alive going into the final week of the regular season. We'll wrap things up on Cowboys OT.
The Cowboys OT, presented by the Texas Lottery, was brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Wendy's. Wendy's new pretzel bacon puff cheeseburger at participating Wendy's for a limited time only. NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full access to coaches' film and game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl. Subscribe at DallasCowboys.com/Game Pass. And by the Texas Lottery. Play the Dallas Cowboys scratch ticket today. It's your ticket for a chance to win big.
The Cowboys offense explodes for 500-plus yards in their third straight win as the Cowboys keep their playoff hopes alive for another week, 37-17 over the Philadelphia Eagles, and very much so have an opportunity to win the NFC East in Week 17 of the regular season. Add that to the list you thought you would never hear in 2020, but that is certainly the case. The Cowboys give up a ton of yards, but what matters is that score, and the Cowboys do close out the regular season home slate with a win, eliminating the Eagles from NFC East contention. Kyle Youmans back with you for the final segment here of Cowboys OT. Barry Church, Nate Newton, Isaiah Stanback. And Isaiah, got to keep that mental stability going into the final week of the season because it's been a crazy year, but you got to focus in. You got to take care of what you can control.
Absolutely. Just like I mentioned in the pregame show, for this particular game, these boys needed to lock in and fix their gaze on this opponent. Well, guess what? They did that. They locked in, right? They saw the doggone prey out there, and they went out there and they got it. Now, guess what? That happened. It's done. Wash it away. Come back, reload, fix your gaze now on the New York Giants. Oh, by the way, your old coach is there. Maybe you want to give him a little McNasty before he gets out of the season.
Hey, you know what? It was a great game played. Every offense, defense, special teams. I've not said it, but I will not let this pass away. Coach Philman, once again, great job. Andy Dalton stayed upright.
Yeah, this offensive line, they protected great. And we've seen these past 3 weeks, if you can protect Andy Dalton, that is the key because he can be an efficient quarterback out there. We've seen what we can do with these receivers out there. They're dynamic players. This whole offense is super dynamic. If we can protect Andy Dalton and we can get Zeke the ball in the backfield. But like my man Isaiah said, we got to focus on the task at hand. I know we got New York coming up, and a lot of people are going to be screen watching to make sure Washington is losing as well. But you can't control that. You can only control what you can control, and that is the New York Giants. You got to go out there, handle business, get that thing done, and then hopefully Washington loses to Philly and we walk into the playoffs.
And like you just said, Washington is still in the driver's seat whenever it comes to the NFC East. The Cowboys need the football team to lose to Philadelphia, the team the Cowboys just beat by 20, and then are kind of reeling a little bit here after Week 16. But then you have a chance to go and make a statement on the road at MetLife Stadium next weekend. Win in the cold. It's going to be mid-50s, a little bit of rainy up in New York next week. So the Cowboys have an opportunity to still make the playoffs, but they need some help along the way. That's going to do it for us here on Cowboys OT from the Star. I want to thank everybody as a part of our DallasCowboys.com crew. For Nate Newton, Isaiah Stanback, and Barry Church, I'm Kyle Youmans. We'll see you next week.